What is going on, guys? It is CW Gaming, and I'm bringing you a brand new episode of NCAA 14 Rebuilds. And in today's episode, we have West Virginia. West Virginia is a very good Big 12 team that has never really been able to get over the hump, and so that's exactly what we're going to try and do today, is bring West Virginia a national championship. And so the way these rebuilds go, we have 4 or 5 years, depending on the situation, to rebuild the team, get them to a national championship, conference championship, anything that we can. And so that's exactly what we're going to try and do today. That's the rules, regulations, and so we're going to go ahead and kick it off and look at what we're starting with. And we're starting with a junior quarterback, Jarrett Doge. He's a scrambler, 80 overall as a junior, so we got a little bit of work to do here. With our quarterbacks, we have Doge, Kendall, Allison, and Lowe the third, all in the 70s, and they're all scramblers. So we will address that situation with the scrambling QB because I want to move to more of a balanced pro style offense with a lot of passing, a lot of throwing. Maybe that's the issue with West Virginia. There's a lot of scrambling QBs. It doesn't really fit the system. So we'll address that situation as the years go on, and we will move on to the running backs. So this is our running back situation. We have McCoy, Petaway, Brown, and Sinkfield. Sophomore and Brown, younger. We'll have to address that in a couple years. But receivers, we have a freshman, junior, a senior, a sophomore, a senior, a sophomore. So it's kind of a mix of age here, so we'll have to address that situation. It's not as dire as other situations. We have a junior tight end with some freshmen, sophomores, so that's not as bad either. The tackles, on the other hand, we have a senior with a 73 over him, freshman. So we'll have to look at this guy, and hopefully he can train. He'll progress into a good lineman as the year go on. But we have another senior guard with a freshman behind him, 2 freshmen behind him, and another senior center. Oops, hit the wrong button there. But our senior is a center. Center is a senior. And so it's looking like a lot of our offensive line are seniors. Our right tackle's a senior as well. So we're going to have to replace our whole offensive line and hope that we can find some good players for our O-line. So on to the defense. Our defensive tackle, 91, senior, so he'll be gone. We have our linebacker, senior as well, and a freshman there. So, our team as a whole, a lot of seniors and a lot of freshmen. I'm noticing a lot of redshirt freshmen. So it may take us a couple of years to kind of get where we want to go with the age gap we have here. But for the most part, a lot of seniors. Josh Norwood there on our safety. So we have a little bit to address, and now we will move to recruiting. So here's our recruiting board. Not a lot of, star talent looking at us, which is normal. I mean, we're in the Big 12, but we're not at Oklahoma. We're not anything like that, not at Texas. So it's going to take us a little bit to kind of get where we want to go. But we've got some linebackers, corners. I think a lot of what we need to address is defense. We had a lot of seniors on defense, and so we have 3-star corners, 4-star linebacker, defensive tackle. There's a lot of receivers, but I think we're fine on receivers. Third interest on some 4-stars, so hopefully we can sway those guys. And our recruiting strategy is to go for the 3-stars. We'll have some 4-stars in there somewhere, But, we're just trying to find guys that are interested in us, some defensive guys that are interested. It's not looking too great, but it's going to take us, like I said, a couple years to kind of get where we want to go. And then hopefully we can put it all together and grab ourselves a good class. So we're trying to grab some quality guys here. You see here our tackles. Hopefully we can sway some of these guys and get where we need to go. So we move over to scouting, and scouting is one of the main factors. It's very important for us to do, is to look at guys. Maybe there's a 73 overall, and you see here, he's a bust, and we can remove him. We don't have to waste any points on him. We don't have to waste anything on this guy. There's another bust as well. So scouting is crucial to our recruiting. Maybe there's a guy that's a 61 that we can grab that may go up to a, upper 60s that we can, he may be a 3-star, but he's going to be a great player. This is where we can be efficient in grabbing guys that we need to grab. And so we've got a couple busts already. Here's another one, quarterback Mike Grant, who's a bust we can go ahead and get rid of. And then this opens up spots in our target list for other guys that we can grab as well. And so that's our year one scouting recruiting board. And we're going to move on to redshirting players. And so redshirt is a great opportunity. You see, we don't have any freshmen that we can redshirt. So here's our receivers. We're going to redshirt these bottom 2 freshmen, and hopefully they can train and get better. We have pretty good depth on the guards. So we are kind of addressing the offensive line, as we do have a lot of seniors graduating, but we do have freshmen that are on the team already that will progress. But the whole thing is just keeping the line going and grabbing good depth. And so that's what we're doing here. We're just redshirting some freshmen so that they can have another year to get even better than they already are now. And so now that redshirting's done, we'll go ahead and look at our schedule for this year. Oklahoma is the second game of the year, so that might be a little tough. Georgia State. And somebody watching, if you're a West Virginia fan, please explain to me the whole Maryland thing. We had Maryland on our schedule every season of this rebuild, so a little confused about that. Not sure if that's a rivalry game or not, but so somebody explain that to me. But we're going mid-season now. We're 4-2. Here's our recruitment board so far. Mid-season, we're just kind of checking where we might be with some guys, if we need to add anybody, if we need to, when people start committing, we start gaining more points so we can throw on some guys, and we're just kind of getting a look at where we might be in terms of where we are middle of the season. We have a 3-star corner right here that's committed, 3-star safety, 3-star receiver. We've got a lot of 3 stars. Defensive guys is what we needed. Defensive tackle, 4-star AJ Terry Green or whatever. Sid Allen, 4-star linebacker. So we've gotten a couple 4-stars. We have a linebacker here, Trey Ingram. So we're not looking terrible. We have a lot more 4-stars that are iffy up here, as you see, RJ Foster. So we have a lot of guys. RJ Foster is a corner that we really need. He's a 4-star. Like I said, we really could use some of that talent on defense, as our defense has lacked over the past couple years, I would say. And we're trying to grab a good defense. And Jeff Gibbs here, our 4-star tackle. We're kind of down on him from Boise State. Hopefully we can snag him. And that's kind of mid-season recruiting that we're looking at. So the end of the year has come. We are 5-7. Oklahoma won the conference. So something didn't go right. We started 4-1 and now we're 5-7. So the thick of our Big 12 conference came in, and you see we actually beat Oklahoma, which was a huge win. It's their only loss of the year, so huge win for us. And then we couldn't pull it off. We lost to Maryland, Also Baylor, Texas Tech, and TCU. So as well as Texas, Kansas, and Iowa State. So a very disappointing season. We had hopes. We started off 3-0, beating Oklahoma, but we just couldn't pull it out. And so Austin Kendall, our junior quarterback, threw for 18 TDs, 16 interceptions. So, I mean, he's a scrambling QB. I mean, it's going to happen. He had 402 rushing yards as well. So, we're going to have to address that situation with the whole scrambling quarterbacks. I don't think that's a system that we need to keep going. But on the defensive side, we had 113 tackles from Reigns. That is absolutely insane. Great year for him. We're definitely going to miss that kind of production. 113 tackles, that's insane. But now we're going to take a look at interceptions and see who pulled off the most. It looks like Hakeem Bailey had 6, senior quarterback, so we're going to miss him. He had the most that we've seen. So kicking stats, 88% for our junior, Evan Staley. So pretty good there. And we're going to take a look at what's going on in the league. Clemson, LSU, National Championship. It's pretty realistic. That's what it was this year. So pretty realistic there. And we're going to move on to year number 2. So you see 5-7. Pretty trash. So now into the offseason. We got some guys leaving. Nobody's declaring early. Just graduating seniors. There's our quarterback, Jack Allison, who is a backup. So he is gone. And on to recruiting. So this is right before signing day. We have a lot of work to do. RJ Foster is looking at Penn State. So trying to keep him in West Virginia. Trying to keep him in the Big 12. So we're going to put basically all the points that we can get on RJ Foster. Trey Todd is another guy that we're looking at, 4-star, that we're going to try and steal from Toledo. But mainly, these are the 2 guys that we're going to try and steal. There's a couple guys, Brian Hill, 3 stars, that we just need to kind of clean up to our class. But for the most part, this is what we're looking at in terms of signing day bonuses. So we're back on signing day. We got RJ Foster, Trey Todd, and Eric McCarthy, as well as a running back. So, we're really excited. We got a pretty good cornerback in RJ Foster. And we didn't sign a very good class. But, like I said, it's going to take us a little bit to get where we want to go. But Doge is up to an 86. And Austin Kendall, 83. So that's going to be our quarterback, is Doge, for the remaining couple of years. We're just kind of looking at training, seeing where we need to kind of address in recruiting this year, and kind of how we're going to be looking. So year 2 is upon us as we are going to set up our recruiting board now. Okay, so here we are. After recruiting, we've noticed a lot of scrambling quarterbacks, and that's not where we want to go. So I'm kind of looking at our playbook, seeing our run offense, pass offense ratio, and I'm not really liking the Clemson playbook. So we are going to change that to a more pro-style offense, and a pro-style offense that I can think of is LSU. They produce a lot of receivers and a couple quarterbacks here and there, great quarterbacks for college level. And so we're going to change to LSU's playbook and see if we can grab a couple quarterbacks. So here's our preseason recruiting. We're trying to look at some guys that we can snag here to have a very good recruiting class. And so that's what we're looking at right here. Chad Simmons, Aaron Harris, Freddie Morris. We're looking at quarterbacks that we could potentially grab, as Doge is still a scrambling quarterback. So we're trying to move to more of the balance, as you see here. and Aaron Harris. That's the future of the program. So I just want to check a look at our overall, and it is a 90. So we've gotten a little bit better, and we've gotten a couple of recruits already. 1 4-star. This is middle of the year now, 3-1. So another good start to the year. Hopefully we can do what we did last year, or not do what we did last year, and that's start 3-1 and then lose every game past then. So here's midseason stats. Doge, 839 yards, 7 TDs, 3 interceptions. So, I mean, honestly, a lot better than I thought. He's a scrambling quarterback. We've changed our playbook to LSU, which is a more passing offense. And so he's stepped up to the plate, and I'm happy with the way this year's looking so far. Our junior linebacker, Cohen, 31 tackles already, so not a bad start to the year. I'm happy to see where this whole pro-style offense goes. We signed a kicker, which we needed. David Clark, Justin Butler, Aaron Harris, which we did grab, who's a balanced quarterback. So we're looking, future is bright for our balanced offense in the near future. So we did sign a 4-star, so we signed a Jim, and we finished the year 9-3. So a lot better than last year. I'm excited to see. Of course, Oklahoma is number 1. We're number 2, tied with Texas for second in the Big 12. So here's our schedule. We did lose to Western Kentucky by 6, who went 12-0. We beat Maryland. We beat FCS. We lost to Oklahoma and Baylor. So our 3 losses were Oklahoma, Baylor, and Western Kentucky. So we cleaned our schedule up a lot since last year. Beating teams that we could not beat last year. And that's all thanks to Jarrett Doge. 26 TDs, 11 interceptions, 2,500 yards. That is insane. He's a junior, so we'll have him again for next year. The pro-style offense works for him, I guess. Throwing for 2,500 yards. So I'm really happy with the way Jarrett Doge adjusted to this pro-style offense. And our running backs, Letty Brown, 1,000 yards for him, 10 touchdowns. So pretty good production from our passing and throwing. Giovanni Haskins, 775 yards. Didn't quite break 1,000, but he was close. And we're going to go take a look at interceptions here. The most was 3 with Cowan and Foster. Cowan finished with 79 tackles. So pretty good for midseason. He continued the way he was going. And we did earn a bid to the Cotton Bowl against Texas A&M. So this is our first bowl game. It's a pretty prestigious bowl game. So we're going to go ahead and play this bowl game out. We're going to sim most of it, but we're going to see kind of how it goes in our first bowl game of the series. So we go up 13-7 in the first quarter. We're putting it on them pretty well. Now 20-7, 27-7, 27-10. We got a couple stops, and we score again 34-10. And we go to halftime 34-10. So it's looking like a blowout. But it is Texas A&M, SEC. Don't count them out. 34-18. It is the start of the fourth quarter. It's looking pretty much like our game, but right off the fourth quarter, they score, making it 10. Fumble recovered by Texas A&M, and they score immediately, 34-31. So never count them out. We're having some turnovers, and now we're in overtime. So it's Doge's year. Throws to Simmons. Simmons breaks a tackle down to the 14-yard line, 2nd and 5. So if you do notice, we have to score. This isn't overtime. This is the fourth quarter. I know I said overtime, but it is the fourth quarter. We're trying to score here. We're trying not to we're trying to let the clock roll down, but we end up scoring. We're going to take it where we can. And we scored, left them a minute to score. They go 40 yards the first pass of their possession. 36 seconds. Another 6-yard pass, another 12-yard pass. 24 seconds to go. 5 yards, and they're on the 8-yard line, and they do score. So now we're in overtime. And as you see there, their field goal is no good. So all we have to do is score, and we win the game. And we're trying to be careful. We don't want to force the ball. And Doge, the scrambling QB, does run down for a first. And now it's our running back, Sinkfield. 3rd and 1. Sinkfield, he's going to push behind a tackle. And he grabs a touchdown and secures our first bowl game. We do take the victory in overtime against Texas A&M to win our first bowl game with West Virginia.
A great one to win, a really tough one to lose. West Virginia.
So as you see here, we do take the Cotton Bowl victory against Texas A&M. So we went 5-7. Now we're Cotton Bowl champions. So pretty good progression there. As you see here, 5-7, 10-3. So we're 1-0 in bowl records, 15-10 at West Virginia. So we have another couple of years to get that up, and we're only up from here. So you see players leaving. Josh Chandler, he's a junior. He's declaring. So he's going to be in the 5th round projected, but we're going to try and get him to stay. Promise him that he will not regret getting his college degree. He agrees and stays. And a right-end, Aaron McCarthy, is transferring. He's not getting enough playing time. We're going to go ahead and promise him he's going to play, but he doesn't believe us, and so he's going to go ahead and transfer. But we ended up getting our star linebacker to stay. And we are losing a couple of good defenders, a couple good seniors. So hopefully we can replace them. We're losing our kicker, but we did grab a kicker in recruiting, so we're good there. We don't need Tony Wiggins because we got another kicker. So we signed the 48th ranked class. Pretty disappointed about that, but we do have one good thing to look at, and that is our quarterback, Jarrett Doge, senior, 95, with Trey Lowe, a junior, behind him. So we do have a 56 overall quarterback. He'll probably get cut as time goes on, so not real excited about that. But we are in the transition of a new playbook, a new playing style, and so it's going to take us a little bit longer than 3 or 4 years to grab kind of the guys that we want. And so we're leading off with Brown and Sinkfield, running backs. We have Sam James, a junior, Sean Ryan, a senior, a couple seniors. So we do have upperclassmen, but we do have a couple good freshmen receivers down there as well. So we're just kind of taking a look at our roster, seeing where we are, where we need to be for year 3. So moving on to scouting. This is year 3, or beginning of year 3 now. We've got some guys. Ryan Holmes goes down to a 69. Jordan White up to a 73. George Collins up to a 70. Marcus Wright up to a 65. So we're just scouting kind of the 60 overall guys, seeing if we can push them into the 70s, if they're worth our scouting points in the season. So that's kind of what we're doing now. Lance Bennett goes up to a 64, so that's good. We found a bust in Tom Brown. We're going to remove him. And so that's kind of our scouting. And now we have Insta-commit. We've got David Davidson. That's a cool name. Sean Martin to Insta-commit. So we're already looking 3-star linebacker, 4-star Brett Davis. He Insta-commits as well. Brent Taylor. So basically Insta-commit is you find the guys that are number 1 in your interest level. If they're a certain amount of points away, you give them a scholarship, they'll Insta-commit, like Nathan Bridges, the tight end. So we're just kind of looking at 3 and 4 stars that we can go ahead and grab instant commits for, and go ahead and look at a good recruiting class. And so we're looking at number 1 guys. Lester Medley there. Are there any other guys we can get to instant commit? Here's Brian Hill, a 3-star balanced quarterback. We're going to throw some points on him. We need balanced QBs. That's kind of our philosophy now. 40 overall. But Jarek Stewart, you see, as a linebacker that we really are interested in. He's going to be a stud. And Jarrett Doge, 1,300 yards. I'm really proud of that guy for what he did, adjusting to the pro-style offense. And Sinkfield and Brown. Sinkfield's a senior this year, so we're disappointed to see some guys leaving, but 32 tackles, from Cowan. Three interceptions for Deshaun Miller. So we finished year 3, 10-2, same record as last year. And I'm pretty excited. We're ranked number 20th. We are looking up as we go. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at the Big 12. Iowa State won 10-2. Oklahoma 11-1. And we are third at 10-2. So we beat FCS. We beat Eastern Carolina. We beat Maryland. We lost to Iowa State and Oklahoma. So our only 2 losses were the top 2 teams. So I'm not super upset, but it just seems like we cannot get over the hump with Iowa State and Oklahoma. But hopefully, within the next year or 2, we can do that. Jarrett Doge, absolutely incredible year. 37 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, was 3,700 yards. He played out of his mind this year. So pretty good production there, and I'm happy with Jarrett Doge. He came a long way as a scrambling quarterback, so super thrilled about that. Trey Lowe did throw a touchdown with 123 yards as a backup, so sad to see our boy Doge leave. But running backs wise, Letty Brown, a junior, 14 TDs. He broke 1,000 yards. And Sinkfield, kind of not what we wanted, 500 yards. But, that's not bad from a backup. We had 2 receivers break 1,000 yards and 10 TDs. So, Sam James, we'll have him back next year. So, hopefully he can break another 1,000-yard season. And on the blocking side, pretty good. And defensive, Cowan, 81 tackles. So he did get better than last year. Still 66. So, Cowan, two interceptions as well. And Deshaun Miller with 4. Foster with 4. R.J. Foster, our cornerback that we did get, with 4 interceptions as a sophomore. So, pretty thrilled about this year and the defense that we had. Our kicker only had 78%, and we did get another bid to the Cotton Bowl, which we ended up losing against Arkansas. So disappointing, but it was a good game all around. It looks like 4 TDs for Doge in his farewell game, and 24 rushing yards as well. So Sam James, 3 touchdowns. Chase Hayden, 3 touchdowns as well on the rushing. And 10-2, we lost in the Cotton Bowl, but Sam James is declaring he's a receiver. He had 1,000 yards this year. We don't want him to leave, so we're going to try and get him to stay, and he does stay for his senior year. So here's our recruiting class now. We did end up signing the number 2 class in the nation with 2 5-stars, 7 4-stars, 15 3-stars, and we did have a JUCO transfer that was a 75 overall, ranked as a 1-star. So I'm pretty proud of where we've come. 10-2 seasons the past 2 years, and the number 2 recruiting class. We are on the lookup, ranked number 22 team in the nation going into year number 4. So here's our year number 4. We have Trey Lowe, 85 overall. As a senior. Doge played the last 2 years. Now he's gone. So we have Aaron Harris. Aaron Harris is our first balanced quarterback in the new system. So we're excited about Aaron Harris. We have Brian Hill that we ended up stealing, 4-star quarterback. So hopefully he'll progress over the next couple years. And Letty Brown, our power running back, a senior, 95. Fullbacks we don't really use, so it doesn't really matter. Receivers, Sam James, a senior. Bryce Wheaton, a senior. Allie Jennings, a junior. And Wright as well. So we do, Wright's a junior. Dan Jones is a freshman. Ryan Houston, freshman. So we do have a lot of guys that are going to be graduating as receivers, but we do have freshmen that will come in and replace them. So here's our tackles. A couple seniors, 80 overall. So we have a decent line. This is an overall decent team. And we're going to go ahead and head into our 4th year. So at the end of our 4th year, we went 8-4. Beating Kansas, Maryland, Eastern Carolina, BYU. We lost to Oklahoma State, Iowa State, Oklahoma, and Baylor. So in the past 4 seasons, we've only been able to beat Oklahoma once. And we did grab a bid to the Buffalo Wild Wings Bowl against Ohio State, which we did lose 14-24. So after 4 seasons, we've done well, but not quite where we want to be. We have our best players leaving and on to recruiting. We did grab Lawrence Jackson on signing day. And at the end of year 4, as you see there, Lawrence Jackson is a 63 overall. We have a 66. Hill moved up to a 72. And Aaron Harris is now our starting quarterback. And so at the end of 4 seasons, we went 5-7, 10-3, 10-3, 8-5. So not quite where we wanted to go. We wanted to bring West Virginia a national championship, but it just wasn't plausible, feasible within the time frame that we have. I do believe another 4 or 5 years we will be national championship. I guarantee it with the team and recruiting class that we have gotten. But in the sake of time, in an 8-5 season, I think we're good to roll with what we've done. So I think both 10-3 seasons we've accomplished, relevancy in the Big 12. And so 33-18 I think is a perfect place to stop. And so, I haven't done a rebuild in a while. Hopefully the next couple rebuilds I do refresh my rebuild skills. So if you guys like this episode, let me know. And we'll go ahead and end this episode, and I will see you guys in the next rebuild.